You're listening to Sapphire FM 97.5 with Layal.
And Chris.
Today we are at the Cobargo Folk Festival, and here with us now is Neil Murray, who is originally from Western Victoria.
He started his solo career in 1989 and has since become one of Australia's most respected and influential singer-songwriters.
Neil Murray's songwriting is diverse, from rock licking to environmental to prayerful to endurance of love to journeyman monologue and to reflection of mortality. He has released 12 solo albums, and his latest release is Bring Thunder and Rain.
Neil performed regularly at festivals and live music venues in Australia and overseas as well.
So how are you today, Neil?
I'm great, thanks. It's lovely to be here at Cobargo. It's my first time.
So we get an idea on how diverse you are. What are two completely different songs that you have written?
Gee, let me think. Well, anything that's written in a language other than English.
Yeah.
I mean, I've got one on my current record, Mullameane, which is written in the Jabberong language, which isn't spoken anymore. So it was a labour of love and several years of research, really, to get enough information to be able to construct meaningful sentences. So that's pretty different. And then just compared to, like a standard song in English that maybe, something like Far Away that I did in the early 90s. It's just a country rock song.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
So
that's all I can think of off the top of my head. But, I actually had a gospel song. I've never written a gospel song before. I'm not really a church-going man, but I do like a particular style of gospel music. I love the sound of it. So there's one on my latest record called, I can't even tell what it's called. It's the track 2 anyway.
Yeah.
Wait for Thee, that's what it's called.
So what message would you like to portray the most to your audience?
What message?
Yeah.
I guess it's a message of heart and humanity and love over greed and plundering, and a message of really listening to the earth and belonging to country, a message of respect for Indigenous culture and its wisdom.
Yeah.
Those kind of things, I guess.
Yeah.
The things that I feel strongly about naturally inform the songs I write. I don't set out to write protest songs.
Yeah.
Maybe I've written a couple that are overtly protest, but any song is political in the sense of what it represents or the kind of truth or viewpoint that it portrays.
Yeah.
So all the Warumpi Band material was really written through Indigenous eyes, from an Indigenous worldview. So in that sense, that's what it supports and promotes.
Yeah.
So when you're playing your shows and stuff, how do you deal with like hecklers or maybe some equipment going wrong or just like the show not quite going to how you thought it was going to go?
Well, hecklers can make the show interesting, Depends on how they're heckling, I mean, if it's some guy drunk staggering in front with you with a stubby yelling out for K-San or something, you can sort of dispatch them pretty quickly. But if it's somebody yelling out for a song, well, maybe that you might go that way, I think you've got to be relaxed and be prepared to laugh at yourself. If the equipment goes wrong, I just put it down to my... In fact, I've got to wear glasses. I can't see what I'm doing. Senior moments, Too many buttons to worry about, pushing and stuff.
Yeah.
Just, people like to see you relaxed, and it disarms the audience too. I think one important thing, you should never apologise for making a mistake,
Yeah.
and stuff, Just laugh at it, but don't sort of be uptight and tense about... Oh, I'll have to start that again. I'm very sorry. No one wants to see that. Just get on with it.
Yeah.
We're all human.
Yeah. Any performances that you feel most proud about or remember the most?
I've very fond memories of doing a duet with the late Jimmy Little at the Yipperingya Festival in Alice Springs. It was a song of mine called Native Born, which is a kind of prayer for us to really become conscientious caretakers of this country we live in. And I remember Jimmy asking me to come round to his motel room before the night show. And I went round there and he said, "Now, Neil, I want you to tell me why you wrote this song." So I wrote to him for about 20 minutes. He said, "Okay, well, we're going to give the medicine to the people." He's a beautiful gentleman.
Yeah.
And so that song I'm very proud of, and I was glad that I got to perform it with him one time. Like for example, last year I played at Murray Hall here, and that was a great gig, 100 people in that little hall in the bush, and very intimate.
Yeah.
Anytime, I think, when you get the sense that people are really with you in the moment, they're really listening and they're really there, that's very rewarding. It's very validating.
Yeah.
I'm really over going to pubs trying to compete with pokies or, TV screens going and stuff.
Yeah.
You got to have a big band behind you. to cut through if you're doing that. So I like a listening audience. I like a theatre type audience that want to listen. It's great to have people get up and dance, but that's rare that happens now if you haven't got a band behind you, the drums and bass. But so I don't really single out favourite performances. I'm just looking forward to the next one.
What musical achievement would you say you're most proud of?
It's not one thing. It's very gratifying. I think ultimately as a songwriter, the most validating reward you get is when someone wants to sing your song,
Yeah.
And that goes back to My Island Home. I wrote that for the lead singer to sing because I was always trying to get a good song in English that he'd get his head around and really want to deliver. This is early days. The lead singer was George Rittenbull, who's passed on now. He was a saltwater man. And when I first had the demo and I showed it to him and he put the thumbs up, he said, "Yeah, that's talking about my life." I knew he'd want to sing it. As a songwriter, it's always gratifying to be able to, for people to want to sing your songs.
Yeah, yeah.
So recently, Missy Higgins covered a song of mine called "Calm and Crystal Clear" from my first solo album. I was just overwhelmed. I was just almost emotional to hear what she'd done to it because a good singer can add so much and just give you a gift back,
Yeah.
So those are the things that stand out for me that are rewarding, but just being able to record, to release a CD, like one time it was a very big undertaking. You really had to have all your shit together and have good songs, and it was a big undertaking to make a record, but now people just do it on their laptops or on their phones maybe and put it out there. So there's a lot of stuff out there that I'm not sure that it's worthy, but I don't want to begrudge anyone's creativity. But I think if you want to get better, you've really got to listen and use your ears a lot and hear what is good and try and get that into your own work. Yeah. And you've got to really make sure that, I think, let's not have any illusions here. It is very hard to make a career in music. And yet there's shows on TV that promote this idea of, oh yes, you can be a star and all that. And I think that's a delusion. The reality is, of all musicians in Australia, only 5% would be making a living off playing music.
Yeah.
The rest of them have got other jobs, and they do music as well, which is nothing wrong with that. But that's reality, and that's not a viable career path if you're thinking about making a living.
Yeah.
So I say to anyone, it's great, you love music, you got it in you, you got the bug, but try and find, there's no guarantee you're going to really make it, so try and find something else you can do as well to give you an income. But at the same token, if it's really in you and you feel that you've got to do music, it's the most vital thing on the planet, it justifies your existence, then you pursue it to the nth degree, and be prepared for poverty. But if you feed your art and that's what fulfills you, then go for it.
What other musicians would you say you're influenced by, or is there any other musicians that you would like to collaborate with in the future?
Well, everything that I've ever heard is some sort of influence. I just coming here to this area last month and just doing some stuff with Wazza here, Warren Foster, and getting his input on the way he sees things and the way he writes, and that's great because I get a buzz out of it. And but when I was little, the Beatles were my band. I was in primary school and I was singing their songs. But it was all the singer-songwriters like Neil Young, Joni Mitchell, Bob Dylan, and Leonard Cohen that kind of inspired me, But then in this country itself, there's people like Archie Roach and Youngie Doug and Kev Carmody. And Don Walker's a great writer. And Liz Stringer, I really like what she does. But I'm really not up with the latest thing what's going around, But every now and then at festivals I see something which I'm impressed by.
Yeah.
I like to think that I'm not that easy to impress now,
Yeah.
But every now and then you find a song or someone does something in you, and it gives you a new insight. So I really haven't got a long list of names that I could reel off as being major influences. There's been times when I've been influenced. I mean, there was an artist, John Martin, in the late 70s. I really like what he does. He's gone now, but he used a lot of echo and picking and very emotive voices. I loved what he did. And he was an influence for a while. It just kind of evolves,
So, you discussed the Beatles. The Beatles were pretty iconic for having their signature image. Do you think image is a pretty important thing with musicians?
I don't think it should. I think the music itself, the quality of the music is paramount. But I guess if you're marketing, because there's so much out there now, you have to think carefully about the kind of image, the brand that you represent, because as they say, a name is what you make it. You know, whatever the name of your act is has to be carefully considered, because that's going to either stick, or it's going to fly, or it's going to flop. And if it does fly, it's going to be iconic in the long run if you keep going. So, all these things are extraneous to the music. You've got to have good songs at the base level. The songs have got to be good.
Yeah.
And everything else is just dressing, you know.
So what do you like about the music industry, or is there anything you'd like to change about it?
Jesus, that's opened a can of worms. Well, I'm the worst one. I've got a pretty jaundiced view, I think, now, but I don't like the way that a lot of the mainstream of it is monopolised just by a few people, a few wealthy people who operate, I don't think, in an ethical way. The beauty about these festivals, though, like the small ones, is you get back to the purity of grassroots, the love of it, and people just doing it on the smell of an oily rag. And you often have a bit of time at smaller festivals, I find, but it's the whole landscape's changed. I mean, in many ways, the music business is a very perilous position now, because with downloading and streaming, the returns you get from that wouldn't keep a goldfish alive. So for someone like me, an independent artist, I really depend on festivals like this where I can sell my CDs at gigs and at point of sale, so you get an immediate return, because you know, CDs just aren't selling in shops like they used to.
Yeah. So what are some big challenges that you've faced, and do you have any more plans for your music in the future?
Challenges I've faced, the main challenge is just being able to keep going, to be able to find a way of getting work and making enough money to be able to invest it back into making more music. Immediate goal project I've got is I want to do a duo album with Sammy Butcher, who me and him started a Warrington band, and we ran a crowdfunding campaign a few months back, but we only got 26% of our target. So now I'm having to look reluctantly at applying for grants again to see if we can pick up the shortfall. And it's not something I'm particularly good at, because it takes a lot of time to dot your T's and cross your I's.
Yeah.
You know, but that's a necessary thing to look at this stage of the game, to get the funds to be able to record and the travel and the producers and stuff. But eventually, I'm always writing songs. I mean, when they come to me, I put them in a little file and I'll put them away, and maybe in a couple of years' time, I'll have a look at seeing what I've got, and I've got enough strong ones, so I'll look at recording them.
Yeah.
That's all you do.
So where can people follow you online and find out more about you and the next performances that you have running?
Well, I've got a website, neilmurray.com.au, and all my gigs are listed there. I've also got 2 Facebook pages, a muso one and a sort of quasi-personal one, but I just use that to promote shows. Or like, I've got a songwriting retreat coming up at the end of April at a guest house near Hillsville, 2-day intensive workshop, and that's all online. I've got events on Facebook. But yeah, there's a link on my website to all that, so if they go to neilmurray.com.au, make sure you get the AU in there, otherwise you'll end up with the bloody bass player from Whitesnake or something like that. So yeah, that's where I can be found. Not too hard to find, really.
Awesome. Well, it's been great talking to you, and
Yeah, you're welcome.